Good morning. It is day 3 working on this beast here. Yesterday we got our heads on, our timing chain cover down there is on. So I'm going to start out today by torquing up the timing chain cover. I've got a couple bolts to tighten up on this PCV valve there. Then I'm going to work on getting the water pump back on the side, right down there, and then start putting all the water things back in place. Probably get some pulleys back in place on this side, and just kind of start working my way around, and we'll keep you informed. We got Andy here. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning.
Gonna get this wiring harness deal. It's got a busted part right there, so we're just gonna put some wire, some heavy-duty steel wire on either side of it, and then wrap it all up and good and tape with tape. So not much I can really do with it, so we'll just kind of reinforce it and go from there. I'm going to get this water pump mounted back on down there. So I've got a couple bolts. I extracted the top left one. Somebody really messed that other one up, so that one's just gonna be gone. Okay, we're gonna get start putting our water stuff back together with this crossover, and get this guy back on there. Got our PCV tube hooked back up to here, and yeah. Alright, we've got our water pump installed. It's kind of a little bit of a puzzle getting all this tubing back together. You definitely want to start with the crossover pipe, and you definitely want to get this guy in down here. So start with your crossover pipe and then get this guy down here. We tried to replace the O-ring that the plastic slips into because it just pulled out, and we did replace the O-ring, but we started with a thicker one to try to help it seal better, but just fought it going in. So I grabbed another one that was a little smaller and it slipped right in, not an issue. So once we got that into there, we've got this guy to there, heater hose here. This is the thermostat housing right here. So these are all tightened down. That hose will connect to the radiator down at the bottom. So now we're gonna start working on some other things. And he's working on getting some wires connected.
Put this connector on there, attached, and then attached up here your sensor.
Slip onto those bolts onto the side, the studded bolts. Alright. Alright, so the next thing we're going to go after is Andy is going to work down here. We'll put you on time lapse. He's going to put the alternator bracket back in.
All cleaned up, nice and shiny, right?
Now I am going to go down in the front of the engine, get these O2 sensors reconnected, and get the radiator hose reconnected, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, I've got my O2s hooked back up here, and he's got a bracket for the alternator installed back in there. So next we're going to work together and drop this alternator down behind the back. Seems to be the better way to do it for us anyway. You can sneak it through the side, I guess, which is the way you're supposed to, but we're gonna go through the back.
Get Andy back in here hooking up the wires to the alternator. So that wire's hooked up. This is connected. Put the booty back on. And this wire goes on. Where?
I'll figure it out. Classic. Oh, that's for the O2 sensor for the exhaust, so that can just hang there for now.
Oh, okay.
That'll go on when I work on the exhaust.
Okay. And I'm guessing this maybe comes and clips into here.
Yeah, it just kind of zip tied onto something. I had to zip tie it because that clip is broke, so I'll figure out where it goes. It's got a couple. I think that black one near the connector goes on the stud for the oil pan right there. But oil pan's got to come off, so just leave it.
Oh, this one comes over here.
Yeah, but just leave it off for now.
Yeah, so that'll go there, and this will go on the starter.
Yep.
Just like that.
Or alternator.
Or alternator, yeah.
So, okay.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Not really.
Okay, so we've got the power steering pump right here. That's gonna go back on right down there in the middle.
Missed something.
Yeah, it's gotta go up, rotate a little, because it goes way in there.
Yeah, like
There we
this.
go. Yep.
There we go.
Yep. Just like that. So we'll get all the little nuts back on there. Since we did have some kind of bent studs from taking off the pulley, they were actually previously bent. We did swap those studs with some other ones that are down there that just hold on little wiring connectors. So now we have clean studs. Andy wire wheeled these bolts up before we threw them in there, and so the nuts will all go on without issue. We got the two big ones kind of go up at top, mounting it to the engine mount that's up here. So we're gonna get that put on. I'm going to drop our spark plugs in, get those in and torqued. So the way we took this off, we did take the valve cover off before that, but it's really tight fit between this this connection here. So we're actually gonna take it back off, and we'll put this on after we get the valve covers on. Just because
If you look on this side, you can see it.
it's just real tight. You can see right here. So. Alright, got the spark plugs dropped in. Go ahead and torque them, and it's 12 foot-pounds. So we're going to go ahead and get these torqued 12 foot-pounds, which is 144 inch-pounds. Just 12 times, if you're doing foot-pounds, just take that times 12 and you'll have your inch-pounds. Alright, next we'll move on to valve covers. Alright, to prep for this, we've got the little nubs where the gaskets have met up. We're going to put silicone on those, but first, since these are sticking up, I'm going to go ahead and just take a razor blade and trim those off nice and flush. Then we'll put silicone on there, and then we'll do kind of a once over and get the valve covers placed. We got Andy's cleaning out that tank over there, the radiator overflow. Use some gasoline and some sand in there and shake it up real good and get it all cleaned out from the oil that was in there.
Plugged up.
I'm going to be working on the rear valve cover here. I'm going to replace all the seals on the bolts with these new blue ones. You know they're good because they're blue. We've got a new front valve cover in this box, plus a bunch of other gaskets yet. And so, yeah, you can watch it on the other camera. Alright, we're going to start with the back valve cover. Got that one right here. Flip that up down there. Be a little tricky to get over the cams. You want to set it down as straight as possible because of that silicone. So get that set down, get our studs started. There's a little nut that holds this is what holds that little ground thing on I was talking about. It goes on this far stud.
Oh.
I'm going to set that aside in a magnet tray. Look at that short little ratchet too. There's a little shorty swivel. Just to kind of make it easy.
Yeah, this is just,
get these just kind of run down, essentially finger tight. I'll let that sealant set up before we give it the full torque, which isn't much. Have to double check, but I think it's only 8 foot-pounds. No, it's not. It's not a little bit. It's not down. It's where it needs to go. I kind of started in the middle and worked my way out to initially get it into place, and so now just kind of going back and getting them run down. Squeaking new seals. Alright, got that down where that goes. Next we'll put the front one on here. I did buy a new valve cover for the front. The old one had some broken off bolts in it. Normally I could extract with them using a welder and a nut, but since this is plastic, of course, that was not going to work out. So I just ordered a brand new one, kind of splurged getting this guy, so
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Like that. There we go, huh? Right there. There we go. Got yours.
Yep.
You can grab that white one. Yeah. Did you grab onto it because it's wider? Yeah.
That plugged it in, that's like a mistake.
So we got the fans out. I sneak right through here. The radiator port for these bolts. Looks up pretty good at one extension. I like the swivel extensions. You can always get a little bit of play out of them.
It is, unless you didn't look.
So on that one. There we go.
Good driver.
Yes, it's like a $6 in there. What?
I mean, yeah.
Back that up.
Filter.
Snug. Well, I suppose we can put that water pump belt back on. No, we got just kind of for that one. There's a new one. It's not, this tensioner is easy enough to move by hand. Once you put the filter on the bottom one, this one on the side one, you should be able to kind of walk around. Got it off by hand.
Let's do it that way. Yep, looks like that.
Alright, so Andy's going to work on getting this power steering back in now that we've got these on. And I'm going to get things ready for the injectors and lower intake. Alright, Andy's got the power steering pump mounted up here. So next he's just cleaning up this pulley, which I'll put the pulley back on. And then we will
tighten that up.
Tighten that up. I'm going to right now stay live and put on this lower intake, the bolts I've got sitting up here. And those, according to specs, are tightened to 21 foot-pounds. It's a lot for a little 8mm bolt. So we'll get those installed. I've got this cleaned up. I blew this out with air. I've got my new gaskets on there ready to go. So all we got to do is flip her on in there. Get those into place. Get the bolts started.
What you used to hold that? Oh, that's trying to wedge something in there.
Yeah. We could also put the belt on it, which would help.
Yeah.
But we weren't going to put the belt on yet, so.
Right, because we got.
I wonder if we can come up with some other
way to do
that.
We gotta do the pan.
Yeah. So I wonder if we can, you know, I've got like a spanner wrench, you know, for a grinder with the nubs. If maybe
do you have a strap wrench?
I might. I'll take a look as soon as I get these in.
Okay.
Yeah, because the strap wrench would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't really want
I
to.
could probably even use that old belt and loop it up around here. You know.
Yeah, I don't know if it would.
That would kind of be like a strap wrench.
Just need to like run. I got that baling wire. Could like run a wire through here and run it around there. You know.
God, I'll snap that baling wire trying to tighten that nut though.
Well, that's fine. I got plenty of it. It's not an issue. We could double it up or whatever. I've got some metal coat hangers too. We need something a little heavier duty. Just kind of getting these started. Just hand tight the middles first and then to the outsides. this side first, and then we'll do the other side. You can feel it pulling down already.
Let's try it out.
Get enough grip on that. You won't be able to pull the belt tight. Okay, I've got those hand tight. And I'm going to torque these down to 21 foot-pounds. I think I'm going to go around a little bit more before I go full click on them.
You give it a pull. I think it's good. You want
It's pretty tight.
just feel it yourself. See what you think.
What we're doing over here is we've got the this. Trying to find a little bit better way than sticking a bolt between the pulley and slipping.
That's
Pretty tight though.
Yeah.
So we wrapped a belt around there, the old belt, and to give it some tension.
I used this as a strap wrench.
Yep. Back to what I was doing, I was going around these, just taking my time tightening these up so that it gets even pressure. And then we'll go for the clicks.
Order sequence on that? Or not really.
Well, you go around the middles and then go to the outside.
Supposed to be attached somewhere down here. Or is there another bracket up here?
It goes on the engine mount.
Okay.
I still find it hard to believe that these are 21 foot-pounds, so I think I may pause after I get these a little bit tighter and just double check that online. On my sheet it says 21 foot-pounds, but
Okay, where was this nut again, or was that for later use?
that goes on.
Is it on the top one?
I'm thinking about this right now. I can't think of two things at once. Alright, I'm going to pause this and double check. Double checked these and they are 21, so we're just going to carefully get these down. There's a two-stage process to them, which I've already kind of gone around. This is to go 14 at first and then get to your 21, but since I'm just continually working it.
I think that's good enough.
I think so. They should also bottom.
That had a pretty good gasket on it, didn't it?
They get those, yeah.
What was that?
Broke. All right, well, I guess we're gonna miss that one. Well, you saw it break. You saw it break. So, we've got these broke loose again. We're gonna take it back off, see if I can extract that one. I don't understand the 21 foot-pounds, so we're just gonna, once we get this fixed, we should be able to extract it. And I'll have to run and grab a new bolt. And we'll just go by feel. Like I should have done it because I was nervous about it. Alright, let's set that over there. We've got plenty of stud to work with here, as you can see. So I've got some extractor sockets that we'll put on there. I'm gonna go into time-lapse mode for doing that stuff. Yeah, looks like we don't even need an extraction socket for it. It's just loose enough in there. It's just too much pressure for those little bolts. So comes right out. It wasn't hard into the heads or anything. Yeah, I don't know why that says 21 foot-pounds. That's a ridiculous amount of torque for those little bolts. So
just be careful not to drop it down inside there.
yeah, do not drop it. All right, well, I will, Andy is probably going to be done for the day, and I'm going to run and get a bolt. All right, we're back. We get that bolt pulled off and let Andy go, because this is just kind of single stuff working on all this wiring harness and whatnot once I get this on. So it'll be just kind of some putsy work, and he had some other things to do. So ran to Menards, got myself a new bolt. Essentially the same length, the threads are the same length. These have an extra little spot with no threads on them, so they start. So you have to be a little bit more careful about cross-threading these. But got that in a washer. It's a 10mm head instead of an 8, but it'll work just fine. So we'll go ahead and get that on. I'm not going to use a torque wrench on these. I'm just going to tighten them down till they're nice and snug, and that way I don't run the risk of breaking a bolt, since obviously the torque that's online that I found in multiple spots is not right for this particular engine. Alrighty, now we've got that torqued down. I'm going to go ahead and start getting my wiring harness wrapped around where it needs to go, so I can get all my fuel injectors plugged back in. Once I get that on, then I can work on getting the engine mount back on. I'll also be working on getting the power steering on, and yeah, just generally working around this stuff in here. We're going to go ahead and get our coil unplugged, our coils in. So a little bit of dielectric grease in the tip. And just drop them down into the location they go. Get them seated in there. Don't need a whole lot of dielectric, just to help keep the spark in there. I already put some in that one. Just going to drop those in. Get them seated. And grab these front ones. And I'm going to grab bolts, put those in and continue my way around the wiring harness and whatnot, and do the power steering, because after we get a few more things on, then we'll be putting the upper intake on here. Once we get that on, then we can get all the rest of these things hooked up. Alright, things are coming along. I've got all the coils in, everything's torqued down for the for the valve covers, I've got pretty much everything connected. Fuel's back connected. I've got a bunch of the vacuum stuff reconnected other than the intake. So we've got wires plugged back together. I did damage one coil. I leaned on it and I broke the plastic on it. So I've kind of got that hacked together up in the front here just with a big washer until a new one comes in. It's all right. Yeah, I had two broken off bolts in the old manifold, so for the valve cover, I mean. So we'll deal with that for now, but I'm not going to buy one at the store because they're like 75 bucks and a lot cheaper online. We've got the engine mount is back on now, and we've got the belt kind of gently routed. I don't have the bottom pulley on yet because I am going to do the oil pan yet tonight. So we've got the power steering is all in, hooked up. So I'm going to put on the intake, and then I'm going to start working on the front here where the fans go. Get those fans back in and everything wired up and plumbed. So still some stuff to do up here. I'm going to start with the intake though. Got the intake over here on the table. It's still got the throttle body attached to it. I'll be replacing this gasket here for the EGR. But we're going to clean this up and put new seals in here, and then we'll be ready to flip it back over and put it in. Of course, we'll remove the towels. Don't forget that. Go ahead and get these surfaces cleaned up real quick. And I'm going to give it a blow with the air compressor. Make sure we don't have anything left over in there. Sorry for the loud noises. Check our seals, they look good. Go ahead and set this down here gently. Just gonna kind of get these guys started a little bit here. That's where we're hung up a little bit. That needs to come over top. There we go. Kind of wiggle into place. Bolts will kind of drop in the holes when you get it lined up and wiggle that in. Alright, now we go fishing for a socket. Let's try that again. Quick, get this one done. There, I think I got it. There it is. We're working on these old engines. You get a lot of brittle stuff and a lot of people that have broken bolts and had them extracted, and you can't always find stuff for these anymore either. It's like for this one, these are captured bolts, but this one, I can't recall when we got it. I think it was missing. So I'm guessing somebody broke it. Again, I'm gonna work myself from the inside. Inside out, kind of work in a circle. Guess I'm probably in the way here. And these just bolt down. They bottom out. They get hard. There's no reason to torque them. They just tighten down. It's a real light torque. It's something like 8 foot-pounds, I think, on these. But I'm just gonna tighten them down with the ratchet. Go around them again here. Yeah, that one's done. Intake is on. We'll get these hooked up. We've got to grab the vacuum controller for the EGR and get that mounted on there and start getting some other things plugged in around here. Alright, here we go. We've got the EGR all done back there. Got all that tightened up. I'm pretty much ready for the air box over here other than the radiator tube, but I'm going to work on that with the fans. So I'm actually going to start working on that coolant portion now. I've got the tank, which Andy cleaned out for me earlier. I could have got a new one, but you know, saving money. So we're going to get that put in now and continue on. Alrighty, I don't know what I've said, but got our bottle mounted, our cruise control. I also did the accelerator cable with the cruise control cable. Got those all mounted up. So now I'm going to move on to getting the fans back in. So what I'm going to do is remove my protective cardboard that I laid over this. And it goes in and outside on the AC compressor or condenser as well. But I've got to take off the brackets on either side. Just take those off. There's just a couple bolts there, 3 bolts on each side. Take those off and I can kind of lean this forward and I'll get each of those fans down in there. Set you up to watch. Alright, take a look at what I did here a little bit. I had to, see if I can pointer here. I had this overflow tube on the bottom. I had that kind of routed wrong. It goes all the way around, all the way down to there. So I kind of had that routed wrong. It's got to go behind the cross brace. Behind the cross brace, and I had put the cross brace in before I ran that over there. So I had to disconnect that, and I just weaved it through. Not too big of a deal. Got the radiator. It's best to look through them. You can look through right there. You can see the small one that goes to the tank. Goes right there up to the tank, and the big one comes back around. It goes down to the just past the thermostat there. You get the thermostat housing, that triangular looking piece with bolts in it. So that hooks up there, and we've got all of our coolant lines connected. We've reconnected our fans. Got our electrical connected for the fans. Got those wires buttoned down so they're not going to go anywhere. The tabs are broken off on the fan connectors, but what do you do? Like I said, it's old. It's got a lot of little... You need zip ties here, zip ties there. All sorts of stuff like that just to kind of get it all put back together. So I guess what I'm going to concentrate on next is I'm going to put this grill back together. The license plate has some fog lights on it, so I've got to do some wire connection to that. And I'm going to put the battery box back in and get the air box back in. I'm not going to hook up electrical yet, but we'll get there when we get there. You'll have to mind the noise the heater's running. It's Minnesota, and I have a heated shop, which is very, very nice. So we've got the air box all back on. Everything's connected there. Everything's tight there. We've got the battery box and the battery back in. I'm still not going to connect it until I'm ready to fire it up, which is going to be a little while. I have to get exhaust done and do the oil pan yet. So got everything over here all buttoned up. Everything's cleaned up, all the wires, all the tubing, everything is where it needs to be. Don't mind this red wire, it's for a tack input for a remote start, but we don't need it. So I think I might throw a zip tie around these wires just so they're not flopping. But yeah, everything appears to be in good order. Got the grill back on, of course, with the ditch lights, and yeah, everything's tight. You can tell if you have one of these, you know this thing's missing a bunch of stuff. There should be a plastic cover up here. There should be a plastic cover on this. There should be one on top of the engine. All that stuff's been gone for a while. But yeah, we have no fluids in this right now. We have no coolant, we have no power steering, and we have no oil. Of course, we didn't touch the brakes for bleeding purposes or anything like that, so that's still got all the brake fluid in there. But yeah, next up, and move down below. You